I lost my virginity exceptionally late. Now you might say that late is relative or it's subjective, but I think most, if not all, would probably describe losing your virginity in your mid-20s as being late. Why did it take so long? Because what should have been long was actually
very short.
I'm just kidding. We won't go into why it took so long because I explained some of the reasons extensively in this video of mine that you should strongly consider checking out once you're done watching this video. Instead, I'm going to talk about how my life changed the instant I lost my virginity. Losing my virginity has brought about a paradigm shift in me. And although it's just been a few years since I lost my virginity, I would honestly say that losing my virginity has completely changed my life by changing me. And that too in ways that I wasn't expecting. So much so that I'd probably describe having lost my virginity as one of the best things to have ever happened to me. Why am I opening up about this? Because that's what I do on this channel. It's called Anubhav Ke Anubhav for a reason. I enjoy sharing my life's experiences in as transparent a manner as possible because I think a lot of you find the radical transparency to be refreshing and more importantly, to be relatable. I'm going to start by describing what my state was during the 3 or 4 years leading up to the time I lost my virginity, and then compare that to how I felt after the time I lost my virginity. Let's rewind to 2011. I was 18 years old. I was about to enter college. I was a virgin, but I had absolutely zero anxiety about the fact that I was a virgin. I mean, 95% of my friends were virgins, and we were just happy focusing on our studies and extracurricular activities because our main goal was to actually secure admission into a respectable college. But if you're still a virgin in your 20s, as I was when I was graduating college as a 23-year-old virgin, you start to feel very conscious about the fact that you're still a virgin. The fact that you're still a virgin in your early to mid-20s starts nagging you. It starts gnawing at you and becomes this constant source of anxiety. To use a cricketing analogy, it's like you've been at the crease for a long time, but you're yet to get off the mark. In other words, you feel like an Akash Chopra. So the pressure builds, the anxiety keeps ticking up. You feel a lot less confident and a lot more insecure when you're around women. And as a man, your manhood starts to feel fickle. Not to mention the added anxiety stemming from the feeling that you might not know how to get it in if and when you do actually get a chance to get in bed with someone that's not your right hand. And women can sense all of this in you, which only serves to make you less attractive in their eyes, thereby adding fuel to the fire and further contributing to the viciousness of this vicious cycle. Now let's change gears and talk about the paradigm shift that I experienced after I lost my virginity. And I'm not talking about my first couple of experiences in bed because those entailed coming in my pants even before I could whip my dick out. As a result of which, my dick was way too flaccid for me to be able to put it in. So by lost my virginity, I'm referring to the first time that I was able to properly get it in and then go on to last for more than just a few microseconds. I kid you not, when that did happen, I instantly felt as if a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I was finally able to get the monkey off my back. It was such a liberating feeling, so much so that at that time, I felt as if a few months or a few years down the line, I look back on losing my V card as having been a significant turning point in my life. And that's exactly how it's turned out. Allow me to explain. See, when something is constantly gnawing at you, it doesn't let you focus on the task that's directly in front of you in as efficient and focused a manner as possible. Think of it this way. You've got 2 browser windows open on your computer. You're actively using one while the other is just open in the background. Even though that other browser window is not being actively used, by virtue of it just being open in the background, it's still using up some of the computer's resources in terms of space and memory and whatnot. And so when you close that window that's not being actively used, the computer is then able to devote all of its resources to the window that you're actively using. And that's analogous to what happened in my case as well. You know, as soon as I was able to close that window that had been nagging me for years, aka as soon as I lost my virginity, almost instantly, all the thoughts and anxieties and insecurities associated with being a virgin in my mid-20s, which were taking up a lot of my mental resources, disappeared in a flash. As a result, I instantly felt lighter. I felt as if I was able to think a lot more clearly. And I've been able to take this newfound clarity of thought, this feeling of lightness, into all my other endeavors, which I can now devote all my mental bandwidth to, because I no longer feel burdened by those anxieties and insecurities that were gnawing at me. So this was the not so obvious way in which losing my virginity has helped me. I ought to very briefly talk about a couple of obvious ways in which it's helped as well. I no longer feel the need to impress every girl I come across. I don't feel like banging every girl I see. Instead of being needy with women, I'm just a lot more chill around them. And I think women find that attractive. Not saying that I'm never nervous or self-conscious around women. I am. But it's the positive type of stress. You know what they call nervous excitement or eustress, as opposed to the negative type of stress, which is called distress. And this gives me the confidence to approach women a lot more freely and take many more chances as well. In conclusion, it's my duty to mention that, look, I'm aware of the fact that there are lots of young and impressionable folks, especially young men, who consume a lot of my content. And so the last thing that I would want is for you to misinterpret this video. The purpose of this video was to simply share my personal experience and the learnings that I've derived from it, which can be summed up through the following 3 points. Point number 1, don't go around desperately looking for action. Focus on improving yourself, work on yourself, and trust me, the action that you're desperately seeking will take care of itself sooner rather than later. Point number 2, because I was told growing up that I should not talk to girls, otherwise I'll get distracted, I honestly started viewing girls as these supernatural and mystical creatures because of my lack of exposure to them. Hence, I used to feel intimidated around girls even when I was in my late teens and my early 20s. So if hypothetically speaking, I could actually go back to my middle school and my high school days, I would definitely make more of an effort to mingle with girls, to talk to them, thereby developing healthy relationships with the opposite sex. Point number 3, when your parents and when conservatives tell you that they waited until marriage to have sex for the first time, take that with a grain of salt. And I say that because in all probability, your parents and the conservatives who actually say that got married very young, probably not too long after they were legally allowed to get married. So the phrase waited until marriage can mean waiting until 30 for some, while it can mean waiting only until 22 or 23 for others. So keep that in mind in the event that people you know might be trying to influence you. Remember, their circumstances might have been very different compared to what your current set of circumstances are. That's a wrap, folks. Hope you found the radical transparency in this video to be refreshing. Since you've watched this video until the very end, you're already a legend in my eyes, but you have the chance to become an ultra legend by doing the following 4 things. 3 of them are mandatory, whereas 1 of them is optional. Liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and following me on Instagram, where I've been posting a ton of comedy reels recently. And now coming to the optional item, signing up for a 45-minute one-on-one counseling session in case you need guidance on any of the items that you see on your screen. Thanks as always for your loyalty. Until next time, take care, stay safe, keep smashing it, no pun intended, and cheers.